extremes, there is something between the two. Love. Now, love in this sense has one basic dynamic. Love is a desire. A desire is a lack. And therefore, if there is a love for something, it presupposes there must be a lack of it. And therefore, anyone who loves has a desire for what they lack, and therefore they seek to be full, or to be replenished, or to be satisfied. And therefore, it's always a lack of something, all desires. But love is a special kind. It has a special attraction for something, and the thing it must always be attracted to is beauty. Would you not agree, everyone? Whatever you see as beauty or beautiful, you progress towards it. You want to share in it, you want to participate in it, and the more you see it as beautiful, the more you want to get into it, participate in it. The grander the vision, the more beautiful it is. The more real it is, the more beautiful it is. They go together, real and beautiful. Now, Plato, therefore, says, look here, between these two extremes, there must be a process going both ways. From men to the gods to men. And, by the way, I'll just fill it in. Going from the men to the gods, they send up petitions and sacrifices, and coming back down are commands, just as we did before. Notice the same language. The commands and the releases, to release from previous commands, releases, sometimes called requitals. Now, through this comes all the communion and conversation between man and gods and man, because, here it is, because through this intermediary passes all the arts. Through this intermediary passes all the arts. Now, he's going to use this word arts in the highest sense, and that's why we're using it. He says, first of all, they're the arts of divination. How to get in touch with the divine. All right, the art of priests and priestesses. The art of sacrifices. The art of the mysteries. Incantations, and certain words that can be used as charms and spells, as it's called. Through these arts, therefore, there's a passage between the two, and therefore all conversation and communion between men and gods and men take place. Now, we're going to use these words. These are the arts, and let's see what we can do with them. Now, this is from Plato's Symposium. We're taking the idea of art from the Ion and the Republic, which is where we just went. Ion and the Republic. Ion, by the way, is one of the shortest dialogues. It's beautiful dialogue, artistically, has a great architecture and a great deal of beauty to it. It's only about 25 pages. The Republic, as you know, is the master work of Plato, the great dialogue. The thesis on art that we just went over is in the first book. So if you're interested in catching up, all you need to do is go through the Ion and the first book of the Republic, and everything I'm saying you can find right there. Now, if there is a way in which man can reach the divine, if there is a way by which man can reach the divine, that to Plato, as he describes it in the Phaedo, is the mystical way. He calls himself a mystic in Plato's Phaedo. He says, I am a mystic. He says, I've spent all my life being one. And if you're interested in the citation, it's at 69e in the Phaedo. And he says, therefore, the whole goal of the philosopher is to get in touch with the divine. Now, the divine in the Greek world is the nature of reality. Now, we often call that ultimate reality. ultimate reality as that which is most intelligible in its very nature, right? So ultimate reality is the object. The way to reach that is through some process of divination. That is the activity, the action that brings one to the divine. What's the divine in the Platonic world? Ultimate reality. You could take a look at that. The last paragraph of Socrates' speech in the Symposium clearly spells that out. Now, what is a sacrifice? Would you not agree, what we've been talking about in terms of all of the arts, you have to be willing to sacrifice when you enter into a relationship with an art.
You have to pay the fees.
And that is, the person who has the art can command you. They have a right to command you. They have a right to tell you to change your diet, change your way of life, change your job, change your location. And therefore, if they command you, you have to sacrifice correspondingly, must you not? In order to gain the benefits which are assumed to follow from the treatment plan. So therefore, if there is a way to the divine, it necessarily presupposes sacrifice on your part. Mysteries. Now, what does he mean by a mystery? What we mean by a mystery and what they mean by a mystery, of course, is the opposite. The Greeks, the Greek world, their idea of mystery is what we mean by religion. Only in the Greek world, you have to be invited into the mysteries, and in the modern world, they go out and get you evangelized, right? So it's exactly the opposite. But in the mysteries, the sacred mysteries of the Greeks, there was said to be a dramatic disclosure of the very dynamics involved in this search for ultimate reality. Basically, people argue one way or the other, but they all agree on that one thing, is that the mysteries presented a very noble presentation with very rich images, which had a great impression on the participants who were initiated into it, that had a moral transformation of their character. This is what is accepted by nearly all authorities. Therefore, the mysteries is a way to be introduced into the sacrifices as a way to gain divination.
Sometimes religion is defined as a relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
That's right.
Now, another sense of mysteries. Now, this is quite interesting. In the Symposium, he has actual steps, a kind of intellectual aesthetic yoga, which he outlines step by step, a whole series of steps. And as you know, Socrates' speech in the Symposium, which, if I can reference the Rouse translation, it has only 12 paragraphs. It's only 10 pages. And therefore, notice I'm giving you a reading assignment that you can master with quite ease, since it's very short. Of course, you may have to spend a long time on the parts. But in Rouse's translation, he says that he breaks it up into 12. And if you went into it, you would see that these steps of what we're calling the intellectual yoga occupies the 10th paragraph. The 11th paragraph brings a person all the way up through these various steps to the final vision, and that vision is into the very nature of ultimate reality, which is experienced as the perfection of beauty. Overwhelming, said to be in that experience one discovers the meaning of life, and one therefore can see how man is most benefited by that vision. Uh-oh, philosophy benefit. Why? Because at the end of his speech he says it is through these arts, it's in this way, that man becomes a friend of the gods and immortal if any man ever is. So therefore